Okay, so welcome everyone to the next webinar from the series Food as Medicine. I'm super excited. After analyzing the survey, it seems like weight loss is a very hot topic at the moment, bearing in mind that a lot of people spend a lot of time at home, not doing much exercise, eating a lot, whether it's from boredom or emotional eating. It could be various reasons. And I think we all have, to a certain degree, put on some weight. And this is just the current reality. So I know from the survey as well that many of you have tried various diets with mixed results and felt quite restricted following a diet. And unfortunately, the majority have put the weight straight back on. So most people try portion control, but it's not sustainable and leaves us feeling frustrated and hungry. And then we start binging on the wrong foods. So surely if there was a safe, simple, side effect-free solution, we would know it by now, right? Well, I am not so sure. So why is weight loss so difficult? There are more gyms than ever. There are more books on diets than ever. There are more internet gurus offering various diets. There are more healthy organic food stores available. There's better food labeling. There are loads of healthy recipes online. There are tons of health apps, wearable technology, watches, which tell you what you need to do, what to eat, how much to move. There's lots of sporting events, clubs, there's personal trainers, and there's also 500,000 weight loss studies available. So more than 500,000 scientific papers on obesity, with 100 new ones published every day. And there is a ton of buried data to accelerate weight loss very, very cheaply, but nobody can profit from them, so nobody knows them. So isn't weight loss just about eating less and moving more? Isn't a calorie just a calorie? Well, that's what the food industry wants you to think. Dr. Greger and his charity, nutritionfacts.org, analyze them every day and publish summaries on their website. It's non-commercial and not influenced by any industry or big pharma. A lot of their findings I will cover today. So, what is the evidence-based approach to weight loss? First of all, it's not counting calories, it's no portion control, it's no hunger, it's sustainable for all your life. You can also prevent disease with this diet. There are no expensive supplements to buy. It's 100% natural, it's very low cost, and it's the only diet proven to improve long-term health and energy levels. When I changed my diet, my energy went up through the roof. So I actually started exercising. And I managed to do an Ironman triathlon, going from couch potato in 1 year, which is almost a 15-hour triathlon. Let's just have a quick look at the chat. Some people are saying they have no sound. Oh, this is very strange. I'm not sure what to do about that. So basically, my energy went through the roof. And I started feeling amazing. So then I was trying to convince my mom to follow suit, but it took me a long time to convince her to do this. Eventually, I think it took me about 3 years. So she eventually started listening to me after I showed her a lot of scientific evidence, because she wouldn't listen to her daughter. So what happened with my mom is her energy levels increased. She reversed several diseases such as osteoporosis, high cholesterol, chronic fatigue, back pain, headaches, constipation, And she even stopped wearing glasses, which sounds like a miracle. And now she's doing sport, and yeah, her brain is super sharp. She's learning languages, going to university. She's on the call today. You can ask her any questions you like after. And I will also do an interview with her on one of the webinars. So I have first-hand experience with this, and there are also a lot of other examples that I want to show you of people who have transformed their lives, lost weight, increased their energy, and are feeling amazing. So what about calories? Isn't a calorie just a calorie? Let's explore this example of eating rate and calorie density. Carrots versus Coke, for example. 10 carrots or 1 bottle of Coke have 240 calories. You could drink the Coke in less than a minute, but eating 240 calories of carrots would take you more than 2.5 hours of chewing. Our stomach is only so big. Once we fill it up, stretch receptors tell us when we've had enough. But different foods have different amounts of calories per stomachful. And this is the concept of calorie density. 3 pounds of food, for example, which is about 1.36 kilo, is about what an average person eats in a day. In this chart, you can see the calories in 3 pounds of food. So if you drizzle just 1 tablespoon of oil onto your food, you are adding about 100 calories. So the same as 2 cups of blackberries. The average stomach can fit about 4 cups of food at any time. So a single stomach full of strawberry ice cream, for example, could max out our caloric intake for the entire day. To get those same 2,000 calories from the strawberries, you'd have to eat 44 cups of them. That's 11 stomachfuls. Some foods are just impossible to overeat. So in a lab, a calorie is a calorie, but in life, far from it. So traditional weight loss diets focus on decreasing portion size. But we know that these eat less diets can make us feel hungry and miserable. And then we binge on junk food. A more effective approach is actually shift to eating more. Researchers in Hawaii tried putting people on more of a traditional Hawaiian diet with all the plant foods they could eat, unlimited quantities of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and beans. And the study subjects lost on average of 8 kilos in just 21 days. Calorie intake dropped by 40%, but not because they were eating less food. They lost 17 pounds in 3 weeks eating more food, in excess of 4 pounds a day. So this is how many stomachfuls you would need to eat to fit 2,000 calories. You can see the cookies, butter, M&Ms. I do know some M&M addicts here in the audience, but I won't be pointing. So this is, for example, the number of calories in 3 pounds of food, and this is what an average person eats. And you can see that all animal products have more than 200 calories, 2,000 calories in 3 pounds of food, which is about 1.3 kilo. So a landmark study found even when presented with the same number of calories, the same amounts of salt, sugar, fat, fiber, and protein, processed foods led to weight gain, 2 pounds gained over 2 weeks. And unprocessed foods led to weight loss, 2 pounds down. So here's one of the processed meals, which might be considered as healthy. Non-fat Greek yogurt, baked potato chips, sugar-free diet lemonade with a turkey sandwich. It has the same number of calories as this on the right. Was the unprocessed meal food group was eating. Some calories, but just more food. So no wonder it satisfied their hunger much quicker. And they actually ended up 4 pounds lighter in 2 weeks eating more food. So how do you decrease the calorie density of your food. It's very simple. You need to abandon added fats and add abundant vegetables. In a famous prison experiment, lean inmates were overfed up to 10,000 calories a day to try to experimentally make them fat. This turned out to be surprisingly difficult. Most started dreading breakfast and threw it up. The researchers learned how difficult it was to have people to gain weight on purpose, unless you feed them lots of fat. To get prisoners to get 30 pounds, which is 13.6 kilo, on a regular diet, it took about 140,000 excess calories. But to get the same weight gain just by adding fat, all they had to add was 40,000 calories. When the extra calories were in the form of straight fat, it took as many as 100,000 calories less to gain the same amount of weight. This proves that a calorie is not a calorie. It actually depends on what you eat. There are, however, exceptions, such as processed foods with reduced fat claims are often so packed with sugar that they can have the same number of calories as the higher fat product. However, the biggest influence on calorie density is not just fat, but the water content. These vegetables are 95% water. They are basically water in vegetable form packed with nutrients. So water-rich foods like vegetables have more than 90% water by weight, followed by most fresh fruit, coming in around 80%. Starchier vegetables, whole grains, canned beans are around 70%. So in general, most whole plant foods are at the top, most animal foods fall somewhere in the middle, and most processed foods sink to the bottom. In a famous series of experiments, researchers decided to put water-rich vegetables to the test. So study subjects were served pasta and told to eat as much as they wanted. On average, they consumed about 900 calories of pasta. So what do you think would happen if, as the first course, they gave them a 100-calorie salad? What actually happened was they ate 200 calories fewer of the pasta. So thanks to a salad, 100 calories in and 200 calories out. So in essence, the salad had negative 100 calories. So preloading with vegetables can effectively subtract 100 calories out of the meal. Of course, the type of a salad matters. Adding a fatty dressing and extra shredded cheese quadrupled the salad calorie density. So they ate more calories even with the salad before the pasta. So what's the cutoff on preloading? Studies show that eating about a cup of food before a meal decreases the intake by about 100 calories. So to get a negative calorie effect, the first course would have to contain fewer than 100 calories per cup. As you can see in the chart, this would include most fresh fruits and vegetables. But hey, if you give people a large apple to eat before the same pasta meal, and rather than consuming 200 calories less, it was more like 300 calories less. So how many calories does an apple have? It depends on when you eat it. Before a meal, an apple could have negative 200 calories. You can see the same thing giving people vegetable soup as a first course. Hundreds of calories disappear. Even just drinking 2 cups of water immediately before a meal caused people to cut calories by about 20%. So that's why negative calorie preloading is on the list for weight loss boosters. So is there anything we can put on the salad to boost weight loss even more? There are ways to activate an enzyme known as the fat controller AMPK. Its discovery is considered one of the most important medical breakthroughs in the last few decades. You can activate this enzyme through exercise, fasting, and nicotine. Yes, nicotine, smoking. But Is there any way to boost it without the sweat, the hunger, and dying of lung cancer? And the answer is yes, it's called vinegar. When vinegar, acetic acid, is absorbed and metabolized, you get a natural AMPK boost. Vinegar also has a lot of other properties. For example, increases production of nitric oxide if you eat it with greens, which protects your cardiovascular system. It's alkalizing, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, helps with blood sugar. It has a lot of minerals, polyphenols, and amino acids. So let's look at this randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial on the effect of vinegar. The subjects were randomized to drink a daily drink containing 1 or 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, or a controlled drink which tasted the same. 3 months later, the fake vinegar group actually gained weight, as overweight people tend to do, whereas the genuine vinegar group lost body fat. A little vinegar every day led to pounds of weight loss achieved for just cents a day, without removing anything from the diet. There is another trick. How about garlic? Give people some garlic powder compressed into tablets versus placebo pills. And garlic worked, resulting in both a drop in weight within 6 weeks. They used about a half teaspoon of garlic powder a day, which would cost less than 4 cents. Now, if you can afford 3 cents a day, there's black cumin, described as a miracle herb. Besides the weight loss, it also improves cholesterol, triglycerides, blood pressure, and blood sugar control. You can just put black cumin seeds in the pepper grinder and grind it like pepper. With more than 1,000 papers published in the medical literature on black cumin, some reporting amazing results like dropping cholesterol levels as much as a statin drug. So why don't we hear more about this? Because there's no profit in it for the big pharma. You can't patent something that costs 3 cents a day. Another spice, cayenne pepper. It can counteract the metabolic slowing that happens during weight loss and also accelerate fat burning as a bonus. Another one, ginger powder. Over a dozen studies starting at just a 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger a day, showing decreased body weight for just cents a day, proven in placebo-controlled trials to work. But you probably never heard about this because they can't make enough profit. Then you've got nutritional yeast, of course, black cumin and vinegar. So a calorie is not a calorie because, for example, drinking apple juice is not the same as eating apples. And that's where the fiber comes in. Fresh apple juice, for example, is basically apples minus fiber. The apple juice would get rapidly absorbed as soon as it's spilled out of our stomach into the gut, spike our blood sugar, whereas the sugar trapped in the mass of chewed apples would be absorbed more slowly. Fiber never gets absorbed, so it can dilute or eliminate calories. And fiber doesn't just trap sugars. In fact, it's a fat and starch blocker too. Another fat-blocking substance is thylakoid. So what on earth is a thylakoid? It's a source of pretty much all known life and the oxygen we breathe. Thylakoids are where photosynthesis takes place, the process by which plants turn light into food. So when we eat thylakoids, when we bite into a leaf of spinach, for instance, or kale, these green leaf membranes don't immediately get digested. They last for hours in the intestines, and that's when they work their magic. They slow fat absorption. This can then translate into weight loss. Randomized overweight women on a diet to green plant membranes, in other words, just slip them some powdered spinach, and they get a boost in appetite-suppressing hormone and decreased urge for sweets. Yes, spinach can cut your urge for chocolate. And you can achieve this just by eating half cup of cooked greens. And which greens are the best? You can tell by the color. Because thylakoids are where the chlorophyll is, the greener the leaves, the better effect. So go for the darkest possible greens you can find and not a lettuce. Kale, spinach, the darker the better. So though thylakoids eventually get broken down, fiber makes it all the way down to our colon. While it's technically true that we can't digest fiber, that's what our gut bacteria eat. We feed them and then they feed us back. So they make short chain fatty acids that get absorbed from the colon into the bloodstream. They circulate through the body and then make it up to the brain. So that's like the way of our gut flora communicating with us, suppressing our appetite and increasing metabolism at the same time. So what about feeling full after protein? Surprisingly, even a review supported by the meat, dairy and egg industries confirm that protein intake does not actually translate into eating less later on. Whereas if you eat a fiber-rich whole grain for supper, you can cut your calorie intake more than 12 hours later at lunch the next day. You feel full 100 calories quicker the following day, because by then your good gut bacteria are still satisfied with the fiber you have consumed. So today even meat can be considered as junk food. For more than 100 centuries, one of the goals of animal agriculture has been to increase the fat content of farm animals. Take chicken, for example. 100 years ago, chicken was about 23% protein by weight and less than 2% fat. Today, chickens have been genetically modified to have about 10 times more fat. This is one of the reasons why chicken is one of the most fattening meats. For example, soy-based proteins like corn, which is a plant-based meat replacement made from the mushroom kingdom, were found to have stronger filling qualities than chicken. Feed people a chicken and rice for lunch, and 4.5 hours later, they eat 18% more than if they had eaten the chicken-free chicken and rice lunch. So these findings are consistent with childhood obesity research that found that meat consumption seemed to double the odds of children becoming overweight compared to the consumption of plant-based meat products. Whole food sources of plants such as beans did even better, cutting in half the odds of becoming overweight. So that's why these kinds of plant-based meats are more of a stepping stone towards a healthy diet rather than the end game goal. Part of the reason plant-based meats may be less fattening is that they cause less of an insulin spike. A meat-free chicken like corn causes up to 41% less of an insulin reaction. It turns out animal protein causes almost exactly the same insulin response as pure sugar. Just adding some egg whites to your diet can increase insulin output as much as 60%. And fish is even worse. Plant proteins tend to be lower in the branch-chain amino acids, which are associated with insulin resistance that causes type 2 diabetes. What is interesting is that plant cells are composed differently. So animal cells are encased in easily digestible membranes, which allows the enzymes in our gut to easily absorb the calories. Plant cells, on the other hand, have cell walls that are made out of fiber, which present a physical barrier. So many of the calories remain trapped. Now, processed plant foods like fruit juice, sugar, refined grains had their cellular structure destroyed. Their cell walls cracked open and the calories are free for taking. But when you eat whole plant foods, chew all you want, you are still going to end up with less calories completely surrounded by fiber, which then lowers the glycemic impact. In 2017, a group of New Zealand researchers published a broad study, a 12-week randomized controlled trial in the poorest region with the highest obesity rates. Overweight individuals received either standard medical care or classes offering advice on plant-based diet. No meals were provided. So no significant change in the control group, but the plant-based intervention group, even though there was no portion control, lost an average of 19 pounds. That's 9 kilos. It's a very respectable weight loss. But what happened next? At the end of those 2 weeks, the class was dismissed and no more instruction was given. Then everybody was invited back after 6 months. The plant-based group had left the 3-month study 19 pounds lighter on average. But 6 months later, they were down 27 pounds. That's 12.2 kilo. So they got better. They have been feeling so good, both physically and mentally, and came off so many medications that they were sticking to the diet on their own. So what about a year later? Even in studies that last a whole year, people usually yo-yo and put the weight back on. The broad study only lasted 3 months, yet after it was all over, people not only lost weight, but kept it off. A whole food plant-based diet achieved the greatest weight loss ever recorded compared to any such intervention published in the scientific literature. You can read the record-breaking study yourself for free, in full, by scanning the QR code. Any diet that results in reduced calorie intake can result in weight loss. Dropping pounds isn't so much of an issue. The problem is keeping them off. A key difference between plant-based nutrition and more traditional approaches is that people are encouraged to eat as much as they want. There's no calorie counting, no portion control, just eating. But it may not just be the calories in side of the equation. Those eating more plant-based appear to be burning more calories in their sleep. The resting metabolic rate of those eating more plant-based may be 10% higher. You can see the average BMI of people on different diets. We have already learned that a calorie is not a calorie. 100 calories of chickpeas has a different impact than 100 calories of chicken based on absorption and appetite. Even if you eat the same amount, even if you absorb the same amount, a calorie may still not be a calorie. It's not only what you eat, but how and when. Just to give you a taste, the exact number of calories at breakfast are significantly less fattening than the same number of calories at dinner. Same calories, different weight loss. A diet with a bigger breakfast causes more weight loss than the same diet with a bigger dinner. So the recommendation is to stop eating after 7 o'clock. So the same snack at night is literally more fattening than eating exactly the same snack during the daytime. And this is all thanks to our circadian rhythm, which is called chronobiology. Some of the sleep data is crazy too. Overweight adults were randomized to 8 weeks of either calorie restriction or the same diet combined with 3 hours less sleep a week. In the normal sleep group, 80% of the weight loss was fat, whereas in the group missing just a few hours of sleep, it was the opposite, with 80% of the loss being lean body fat. body muscle. So you snooze, you lose fat. A few hours of missed sleep seems to totally flip fat loss on its head. But just looking at the scale, you wouldn't know it. It's like when people fast. Stopping eating completely for a week or two can cause more weight loss than just restricting your calories. But it may actually lead to less loss of body fat and more muscle and bones. Because during fasting, your body starts cannibalizing itself and burning its own protein for fuel. Body fat loss actually slows down when you switch to a ketogenic diet. I know some of you have been on the keto diet for a while, but just looking at the bathroom scale, the keto diet seems like a smashing success, but what is actually happening inside the bodies, like during this study, was a completely different story. On the keto diet, the rate of body fat loss was slowed down by more than half. So most of what they were losing was water and also muscle. So this may explain why the leg muscles of CrossFit trainers placed on a ketogenic diet can shrink as much as 8% within just 2 months. Of course, even if keto diets worked, the point of a weight loss is not to fit into a smaller coffin. The people on keto diets appear to significantly shorten their lives. Low carb and high protein diets have been shown to damage artery function and worsen heart disease. You don't need to worry about protein on plant-based diet because the recommended daily allowance is between 8 and 10%, which is easily provided by plants. Eating more plant food is associated with also living longer. Those going the other way though, those who start out more plant-based but then add meat at least once a week, not only double or triple their odds of diabetes, stroke, heart disease, and weight gain, but may also reduce their life expectancy. That's going from no meat to just once a week meat. So what about sport performance? This diet is fantastic for sport because it's highly anti-inflammatory. It improves blood viscosity or thickness. That helps with more oxygen reaching the muscles, which improves performance. It improves arterial flexibility, leading to better blood flow. There are more antioxidants, which help neutralize free radicals. Free radicals lead to muscle fatigue, reduced athletic performance, and impaired recovery. And it also increases VO2 max. My fellow athletes will know here what I'm talking about. So what appears to be the most effective weight loss diet just so happens to be the only diet ever proven to reverse heart disease. And it can also be so effective in treating and reversing other leading killers like cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure. Only one diet has ever been shown to do all of it. A diet centered around whole plant foods. And you don't have to mortgage your health to lose weight. So in summary, don't think that you will lose weight by exercise only. If you eat a bag of chips, you need to walk for 5 hours to burn it. Or if you have one Starbucks grande latte, you need to walk for 80 minutes. You need to eliminate the crap food, which is basically calorie-rich and processed foods. Somebody's writing on the slide. Don't be scared of carbohydrates. So many people are absolutely petrified of eating carbs. They think that if they eat beans or lentils or some whole grain foods, they're going to get fat. But this is not what happens. If you look at all the communities around the world who are, for example, rural China, Africa, a lot of places where they basically eat rice, beans, and a lot of carbohydrates. There's no diabetes, there's no obesity, and hardly any heart disease. So don't worry about counting calories or protein. Eat as much fruit, vegetables, and legumes as you want. Preload every meal with fruit, veg, or water before the meal. Buy black cumin, garlic, ginger. Green tea is fantastic for weight loss as well. Spirulina, chlorella, wheatgrass have very good effects as well. So eat greens with all meals. So remember your thylakoids. Take apple cider vinegar with meals, and as a morning drink, you can just put a spoon of vinegar in water or sprinkle it on your salad. And ditch the oils, and you'll be very surprised how easy it is actually to cook without oils. You can fry onion, everything. If you've got a good frying pan, you don't actually need the oil. You can just put a tiny bit of water. And if you want to eat something sweet, chocolate, if you've got cravings, eat a piece of fruit before. So now I want to mention the psychology of weight loss. It's all well and good to know, yes, I should eat this, I shouldn't eat that. But it can be very difficult from a psychological point of view to actually implement it. So first of all, you need to know why you want to lose weight. You need to write it down. You need to have a very compelling reason to do it. And you need to make a commitment and say to yourself, it can be easy. Don't make it complicated. Don't make it difficult. Just commit that it's going to be easy. It's also great if you can find an accountability buddy, some social support, or somebody who you can report to daily, weekly, monthly. It really, really helps. But don't compare yourself to others. Learn to love yourself. Give yourself compliments. And think long-term and sustainability for the rest of your life. It's not a diet. It's a lifestyle. Don't fall into the ego trap and have realistic expectations. So if you set your goals too high in the beginning, your ego might say, oh, I will never get there anyway, so I may as well just stop now. So make sure to do it at your own pace, and don't beat yourself up if you fall off the wagon. No negative talk, just forgive yourself. Remember, strive for progress, not perfection. So another useful tip is to actually keep a food journal. So take photos of your food and write down what you eat, because you might be actually surprised. It's different if you actually see the end of the week what you have eaten. And it can give you a wake-up call. Remember to chew your food. It's absolutely essential. People who eat fast are up to 115% more likely to be obese than people who eat slowly. Eating slowly and chewing increases fullness hormones and reduces overeating. So don't worry about the yo-yo effect, because if you sustain eating like this, you will not get a yo-yo effect. Start now, not on Monday. Also, if you go in shopping, eat before, because otherwise you will end up buying a lot of junk food. And you need to focus on your progress and celebrate success. So go shopping as soon as you can and plan the meals for the entire week, so your fridge is all organized. I will be doing another webinar about the practical aspect of the diet, how to equip your kitchen, what to buy, how to plan the shop, recipes and things like that. Another thing is language. You might have heard about the neuro-linguistic programming and how the use of language impacts our nervous system. So if you are using phrases such as, I feel fat, I'm a sugar addict, I've always had a sweet tooth, oh, I just love cheese, failure, shame, dissatisfied, if you use these keywords, oh, it's hopeless, I feel anxious, I'm uncomfortable with my body, I feel very insecure, I'm embarrassed, it registers with your subconscious mind. So avoid this type of language. And instead use positive language. Use phrases such as, I feel really positive today, even though I have eaten a bar of chocolate, I'm really positive that I can make a change for the rest of the day or the week. I feel very inspired, content with my body, I'm very empowered, I'm happy, I'm determined to make this work. I feel very optimistic and fit. So use these positive enforcement words to make yourself feel better. And you need to have tools and strategy for stress and emotional eating as well. So both negative emotions such as stress, depression, boredom, and strangely enough, positive emotions such as being excited, relaxed, when socializing, can increase our cravings. So for example, parties, weddings, baking cookies with grandma, we've learned that sugary snacks and fatty foods are our friends. So we've made these associations with our subconscious mind. Another issue with emotional eating could be some deep unhealed traumas that we have got from the past. Lack of sleep could be a problem. And I would like to share with you something that works for me. And it's basically trying to reprogram your brain. I had sugar cravings most of my life. If I started eating sugar, it was very difficult for me to stop. So nothing works. The willpower didn't really work. So what actually happens with this binge eating? Overcoming food addiction needs something more than willpower. You simply need to retrain your subconscious mind to support and release those automatic cravings. So your subconscious mind can sabotage you in what you want to achieve. And for example, hypnosis opens a direct line of communication with the subconscious mind, and we can actually reprogram it. So for example, hypnosis for sugar addiction can help us reframe how the subconscious views sugar. And in effect, it can help us to release our cravings. And I must say that it worked amazingly for me. And after going through this process, I stopped eating sugar the next day. And I just couldn't believe how fast it worked. I had been struggling with it for years, and literally one exercise and it just went, and I never looked back. So hypnosis actually has been shown to be a powerful tool for helping people lose weight as well. There's a lot of studies on that. In fact, one study found that on average, people who use hypnosis lost 20% more than those who didn't. Additional studies have found hypnosis for healthy eating contributes to longer-term results as well. Another study showed the intervention group had lower C-reactive protein, which is the marker of inflammation, and higher fullness after eating, which translates into better quality of life. So we have got, if you got any questions regarding this, we have actually got a hypnotist on the call today. If you wanted to ask him any questions, David.
Hello, Anna. Great presentation. Well done.
Oh, hi, David. Yeah, I'm super excited to have you on the call. So
thank you for the invite. You're doing great. Well done.
Thank you. So if anybody has any questions regarding this and reprogramming and any problems with emotional eating, then David is your man. And so the question is now, what can I eat? Just to finish off, because I will be doing another webinar about this. And there are hundreds and hundreds of very, very easy recipes that are available to anyone. The ingredients are available pretty much everywhere. So as I said, I will cover the practical side of this diet in another webinar. But for example, you look at breakfast, which is the most important meal, because the calories eaten in the morning burn a lot faster than eaten after 7 o'clock, for example. So don't be afraid of oats. They have tons of fiber, 11% fiber. Eat tons of fruit. don't be afraid of the sugar, fructose in fruit, because it's trapped in fiber. So you're not actually absorbing all the calories because they are trapped. So oats, some plant-based yogurt, lots of fruits, seeds, and for example, cinnamon is a very good spice to eat with breakfast. I will show you how not to make a salad, because a lot of people might think, oh, so I will just have to eat salads now, it's so boring. So I just need to say that don't buy lettuce. This is probably the least nutritional food you can eat. I know it's the cheapest, they always put it in restaurants, but there's not much nutrition in it. There's not much thylakoid. So basically, buy other greens, such as kale or spinach, watercress, rocket salad. And when you make a sauce, you can use, instead of oil, you can use, for example, mustard, garlic, avocado, put some vinegar in it, add spices, put your black cumin, and you can sweeten that up with a date, for example. Use a lot of seeds, nuts, toasted sesame adds a fantastic flavor to salads. You can add fruit as well, raisins. You can bulk it up with quinoa, rice, whole grain pasta, avocado. So there's absolutely no need for oil, and I tell you, you will not miss it. This is a fast food breakfast. If you are in a rush in the morning to get out of the house, then you can just make yourself a smoothie. There are hundreds of recipes. I will send you the list of recipes, websites where you can get them, and they are very, very simple. And if you can, try to find a cooking class around you. Depending where you live, there are a lot of plant-based cooking classes available. And this is some recommended reading. If you want to explore the topic further, if you want more research, this is what I presented today was a very brief overview of the findings of Dr. Greger's book, How Not to Diet. You can read the book. All the money from the book goes to charity, so it's completely non-commercial. I highly recommend it. So yes, I will send this list of books to you as well. These are some of the films which will inspire you to make different food choices. And I will also send you the list. So this is the end of my part, and we finished just before 8, which is great. So now we've got about 15 minutes for questions. So I will have a look at the chat first and see what's there, but you are more than welcome to unmute yourself and actually ask a question. Okay, we've got a question here. Do you recommend taking fat out of your diet, including nuts? Nuts are very, very nutritious, are high in fiber, but if you eat tons and tons of them every day, then you will put on weight. You've got over 500 calories in 100 grams of nuts. But if you eat a small handful of nuts, it's very good for you. So don't be afraid of nuts, but just if you are thinking about losing weight first, then don't eat too many of them. But then for maintenance, you can slowly start adding more nuts back into the diet. But initially, if you want to accelerate the progress, then just eat a little bit less. Okay, next question. Should you change over to this diet immediately, or should you introduce it over a period? This is a great question, Sue. Thank you for this, because it depends what type of personality you are. If you are like type A, no moderation, you do everything overnight, then it might be okay for you to do it like this. However, most people need to introduce the change slowly, because you will fall into the ego trap, and your ego will tell you, there's absolutely no way on earth I can follow this diet. It's just too much, too soon. So yes, it depends on your personality, but I would say majority of people will have to do it step by step and start introducing things. So what I will do is I will send you the list of the daily dozen, what Dr. Greger recommends to eat every single day. So it's an app, and you can basically tick the box then to see what you have eaten. So if you start adding, rather than thinking, oh, I have to stop this, stop that, it's probably going to be easier for you initially. So if you add your beans, if you add your full grain, somebody's asking about rice here. Rice is okay, but try to eat whole grain rice, not white rice. Bulgur wheat is okay as well. Any of the ancient grains, such as quinoa. Most people are not eating enough whole grains, and this is the problem because that's where the fiber is. So we need to be aiming for a lot more fiber. So don't be afraid of the whole grains. Don't eat white bread and white pasta, of course. But for example, if you like pasta, now you can buy lentil pasta, which is amazing, and it tastes really, really good, and it's gluten-free, and it's fantastic. But there's a whole range available in the normal shops now. So absolutely no problem. So what's your recommendation to start introducing? First, I would say, perhaps just start with a breakfast. So you can get yourself some plant milk, oats, a lot of fruit, chia, linseed, and cinnamon, and just make yourself a big bowl of breakfast in the morning. The amount of food I eat in the morning is probably about 600-700 grams, and it's absolutely huge. Most people can't eat so much, but it fills you up and it lasts a really long time. Somebody's asking about rice, Mira. Oh, Mira, hi Mira from Istanbul. No, regarding rice, yes, rice is okay, but wholemeal rice, not white rice. So that's the recommendation. But adding grains and adding beans, I would say, is #1 step. And making your breakfast full of fruit with fiber and real water, because this water that you are taking from plant foods is very easily absorbed by your cells. And then you can hydrate better. It helps with your skin, with wrinkles. So nothing will help you better. No cream, no oil, nothing will help you as well as eating more water-rich foods, because they will hydrate your cells from the inside. And this is structured water. It's proper water that is easily absorbed by our cells. So for skin, it's absolutely amazing, eating tons of fruit, because they are like 90%, 80-90% water. And they fill you up as well. Let's see what other questions there are now. What do you think about olive oil and omega-3 food supplements? Michael, omega-3 supplements, all you need to eat is a tablespoon of ground linseed. This is it. Don't take fish oil because it's contaminated with mercury, and it actually increases the fat storage because your fat is storing all the toxins. So cod liver oil, fish oil is probably the worst source of omega-3. So all you need is a tablespoon of chia or ground flaxseed, linseed, linaza in Spanish. I will send you, this is actually one of the foods which is included on the daily dozen list of foods that you need to include every day. So that 1 tablespoon covers your omega-3 needs for the whole day, basically. How do you make dairy-free yogurt? Anne, you can make it with just using a little probiotic. So you can use, for example, coconut milk or any other milk, and then you put some bacteria from lactobacillus from a probiotic, and then fingers crossed in 4 days you will have yogurt. That's the theory. Rapeseed oil, again, Jane. Rapeseed oil is basically processed rapeseed. Instead, it's better to eat the seed. So no oil is really good. I know a lot of people say coconut oil is the new trend now, eat lots of coconut oil or olive oil, Mediterranean diet. When I went to study the comparisons between Mediterranean diet, for example, I went to Florida last year and studied with the top doctors in the world. And they presented us with a lot of data, for example, comparing diet with oil, a Mediterranean diet with oil, and diet without oil. The diet without oil did much better because what oil does is basically interferes with your nitric oxide production, and it's damaging for your cardiovascular system. It can damage your veins, it can increase hypertension, and it also adds a lot of calories. So instead of adding the oil, you can eat 2 cups of something really nutritional that will give you phytonutrients, lots of good enzymes, anti-aging, anti-cancerous, antibacterial, antifungal, lots of good things. And the oil has absolutely nothing that you can't get in a healthier form somewhere else. And it's unfortunately, it's the same. Most people are very disappointed about this. And to be honest with you, I also was last year when I learned about this. But after looking at all the studies, I have decided not to actually include it in my diet anymore. And to be honest, I don't miss it. It's very easy to cook without it. Let's see what other questions we have. Regarding exercise, any insight regarding exercise? Well, with regards to exercise, we need to exercise minimum half an hour, 30 minutes. Dr. Greger recommends about 30-40 minutes a day. And it could be literally just a brisk walk. You don't have to do an Ironman. You don't have to go on the bike for 4 hours. You know, you don't need to run a marathon. All you need to do is to activate your lymphatic system because it doesn't have a pump. And if you don't activate it with movement, it's going to get stale and you're not detoxifying your body. So the toxins are staying inside you. So it's very important to move. But walking is perfect, swimming, well, any sport that you basically like. It has to be something that you like. Otherwise, it's not going to be sustainable. If you don't enjoy it, then don't. I would say don't even start it because you're just going to get frustrated and you're not going to continue with it. What pans do you recommend to use without oils? Okay, good question. The best pan I have found so far is actually with granite. It's a very, very good pan. It doesn't scratch. It doesn't have any toxins. It's not like the Tefal with Teflon, which if you scratch it or if you increase the temperature too high, then it releases all the chemicals. So this pan you can buy online. I'm really, really happy with it. I haven't burnt anything yet. You can literally fry onion, garlic, everything in it, no problem. And you might want to use a little bit of water if you see it sticking, but normally the pan is fine. So it's stone. It's like metal base, but it's covered in granite. So that's very good. Next question is, when is your next webinar? So this is a very good question because I am actually going traveling. So I don't know if I will be able to prepare. I'll be traveling for 2 months. So I'm not sure if I will be able to prepare it. If I do, then it may be in the summer. If not, it will be in September probably. But I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So at the moment I'm saying September. And I will be sending a survey as always after these seminars. And I will be asking you, what you want to learn, what you want me to focus on next. I have got a lot of ideas. People were asking about detoxification. about gut health, microbiome, and yeah, I've got a whole list basically about energy, increasing energy, sport performance. So there's a lot of topics that I have got on my priority list, but you are more than welcome to email me your question. And thank you so much for all the questions and emails I have been getting. You've been amazing. If I haven't replied to you, it means that I will probably cover it in a webinar, the topics that you are asking. A lot of people have been asking about thyroid as well, and I will be covering that because it seems to be a common problem for a lot of people. So let's see, is there any more? Thank you so much, always really inspiring. Thank you, thanks Morag. I was wondering how you can cook without oil. Yeah, so now you know you can cook without oil. I will send a link to books. Yes, you can get them on online or order your ebook version. And does anybody have any more questions? Are there any questions for David as well, our hypnotist? I don't know, David, would you like to say a couple of words how you do these sessions for emotional eating and food cravings?
Hi, Anna. Yes, I've been a professional hypnotist for over 30 years and helped thousands of people around the world. So hypnosis sessions can be done on Zoom, and I have different sessions available. I know you want to keep this non-commercial, so how about a non-commercial version? I offer free hypnosis sessions as a group relaxation. And
oh, really? Wow,
I guess,
that sounds fantastic. If we could do that, I'm sure a lot of people would be interested.
Okay, I can, shall I send you a link personally, or shall I put a link here in the group, Anna, if it's something that you want to offer?
Well, if you
people?
send it to me, then I will send it to everybody and we can arrange the, well, joint time. How long would we need for this?
Well, to join the one that I have, the meeting that I have is 30 minutes in length, so it's fairly short and sharp. It's I'm in the UK, and it's on a Saturday. It's 11 a.m. Saturday morning, or 1900 7 p.m. on the Saturday. So we're just one hour behind you. And those are totally free. Also, if you wanted to do one specifically for your group, I would be happy to jump on and do it just for you guys at a time that's convenient for you, just for you, Anna.
Oh, that's so nice, David. Thank you so much for this. I'm sure a lot of people will be interested. I must say that
it's great for the mindset, like you say. Half of the issue is getting your mind in the right place first. So put your mind in the right place, then eat the right stuff. You're onto a winner.
Yeah, exactly. You can have all the knowledge in the world. You know what you need to do, but doing it is another story. There's, with all this information around us, everybody should be slim and fit and healthy. There's no excuse for it. It's just our subconscious mind, which basically hijacks our conscious mind, and then we do stupid things.
That's so true.
It's
hard enough with people. It's hard enough with people sabotaging us without us self-sabotaging ourselves on top too.
Yeah, well, we all know people who are always self-sabotaging their success. I'm sure everybody knows somebody. It's like, why is he doing this? Why is she doing this? Why is she making that decision? It's like, I wouldn't do that. But it's different when it's you, isn't it? If you got some traumas or some triggers or associations, whether positive or negative, it's so deep that consciously we just can't get rid of it. And I know myself, I've been trying to work on several things, and especially sugar addictions, and nothing worked as well as hypnosis. And that was actually, that was actually in Dubai, Scott, remember when we did the hypnosis with Dr. Joe Dispenza, going into trance and playing our mind movie. And then the next day, I just didn't even want to look at sugar anymore. And there were all these cakes, these vegan, beautiful cakes, amazing, available everywhere. And I just didn't want them. And up to now, it's March. No, that was in January. Now it's June. And I still don't want it. It's almost
Perfect.
6 months.
Great job. Well done, Anna.
Yeah, so I know it works. So David, if we could arrange something together and do a mini hypnosis for everybody, how many people would be up for it, just out of interest? Can you write in notes or raise your hand? Yeah? Yes, hypnosis, yes, me, no, I would love to. Okay, fantastic. I've got probably now about 200 people on my list from people who have attended or the webinar so far. So I'm sure, is there a limit, David? How many can you handle?
Yeah, I'd like to keep an eye on people when they join me. I want them to switch camera on so that I can see them, so that I know that they're sat in a comfortable chair with arms or laid on the bed for the session. And the session would be, I would explain the technique, which is about 15 minutes in length, and then a 15 minutes relaxation session with their eyes closed.
Okay, sounds good. It
And,
sounds like so many people are in now.
Yeah, great. I'm sure we can arrange something, Anna. I will speak with you through Messenger, and we'll arrange either for you guys to jump on my Zoom on the Saturday, or if you would prefer to do one just for your group, we can arrange.
Amazing. Thank you, David. Does anybody else have any questions or would like to share their story, the transformation story, or anything like that? Don't be shy.
Anna.
Scott?
Yes, I'd love to just, first of all, I'd love to just say thank you both to you and David for this really informative session. And it's so clear to me how passionate you are about this. You've put together loads of really helpful information. I'm looking forward to learning more and more. Do you have a website, a blog, a Facebook presence that, we can go to and, link up to some of the, stuff that you've talked about?
At the moment.
And secondly,
okay.
Okay. Oh, and secondly, how can we support you? This is new for you, so you've got a whole bunch of people's attention right now. Is there anything that we can do to, support you as you evolve into this this new area? This really that you love so much, and that you're, obviously gifted at with all the work that you've done and gathered.
Thank you so much for the feedback, Scott. I will be setting up a website. Initially, it might be a blog, something very simple. I have bought a domain name, which is called inspiredtribe.org. So I want to build a tribe of people which are going to inspire each other, people who want to share their stories, who want to ask questions, people with positive mindset who want to learn, who want to grow. And I'm very excited about this. I will probably not start working on the website for another couple of months when I'm traveling, but I will share with you when it's live. I will upload all my videos there. And with regards to how you can support me, I think the main way you can do it is to share the information and share the webinars and forward this information to your friends and your family, because a lot of them might benefit from this. I want more people to have access to this knowledge, because these days it's very difficult to find anything that makes sense amongst all the information overload that we are surrounded by. And there's so many gurus and so much information and industry backed up data, and it's just not genuine. It's not honest. There's money behind it, and the people are just trying to profiteer from somebody else's life. They are charging you a fortune for some supplements, for diets, for drugs. They're not necessary. I want more people to access this information. So if you could share it with your friends and family, For example, the follow-up email that I will send to all of you will have the recording of this video. It will have the links to the books, the films, the apps. Everything is free. You know, I will not try to make any profit from this because this is not the point. And I've spent 7 years studying this now. I have now actually completed my nutrition certificate with one of the most prestigious nutrition centers in the world, in the Cornell University in New York. And I've studied it from the best doctors, and I'm really excited to share it. I don't want to keep it to myself. What's the point? I've already made myself well. I've already made my mom well. She's sitting here quietly. If anybody wants to ask her any questions, that Halina Bastek is her name. You can see her there. She's looking very, you won't believe that she will be 70 in a few months. She looks like she's 50. So if anybody wants to ask her how she reversed
Look at her.
cirrhosis, lost weight.
Halina, so nice to see you. And you know, it's really nice that you have your mom on the call, because it's one of my questions. You know, I'm endeavoring to learn this. You know, I traveled to India and I learned about plant-based diet when I was there. And as I've aged myself, you know, I'm curious about what can we do to slow or even reverse some of the, aging, common aging ailments. Does the diet that you recommend change as we age? So it's probably a future seminar topic. You mentioned water, and I'm so glad you did, because I was listening to a Zach Bush podcast last night about the human biome and water, and it's fascinating. So I'm curious, and I think you'll be sick and tired of seeing me on your webinars in the future, because I have so much to learn, and I'm really, really grateful that you're so passionate about this subject. So thank you again.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you so much. And so please share it with as many people as you can, and because that's the way to help them. They might not be aware of this information, and if we can make them aware, let's not keep it to ourselves. Let's be generous, share the knowledge, share the love, and it will all come back in one way or another. So does anybody else have any more questions? You're a star. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Okay, great. So we will finish now. Thank you very much. I want to just say that I've got my next guinea pig on the call. I will not point any fingers yet who it is, but she now decided to commit 100%. She's now in my hands. She said she's going to do everything that I basically recommend to her, and then she will inspire her husband, who will also hopefully follow. So we're going to start the whole program now, and then we will keep you updated how the progress is going. So I'm so tempted to say her name, but I won't. So if there's any other guinea pigs who want to trial it and who are ready and committed, then please talk to me. And I will send a survey after this call, maybe tomorrow, and then please fill it in and give me some feedback and ideas for future webinars, for how to grow our community, what topics to include. And I will also include topics such as meditation, working on yourself, like reprogramming and things like that, which will help you achieve your goals much faster than with the traditional approach, and pain-free. So there's a lot in the pipeline. So super excited. Thank you all. Have a nice evening and see you soon.